Welcome to the Decision Ease podcast. I'm Kirsten Parker. How you doing? How's your September/October? I don't know when this is coming out, but I hope you're having a great fall. Let's talk about shame and guilt. Listen, okay, you know me, I don't want to bum anybody out, but we have to have this conversation today. We're going to keep it light, we're going to keep it informative, we're going to keep it useful, but we have to have this conversation because I am noticing a trend. My conversations with people who want to make more authentic choices, they don't want to make so many fear-based choices, the FOPO, the FOMO, fear of people's opinions, fear of missing out. They don't want to make people-pleasing choices. Here's what I'm noticing. A lot of people are avoidant of guilt to the point where this is driving a lot of our decisions. Just like the possibility of feeling guilty is so repelling that I'm going to make my decisions around that so I can avoid that possibility, which doesn't feel great and doesn't turn out great. And a lot of people are actually confusing shame and guilt. And I think there's a really powerful distinction to be made here that's going to help you feel less bad. Let's just say bad, whether it's guilty or ashamed. Knowing this difference is going to help you really understand how you feel. Because a lot of times what we're feeling when we think we feel guilty or maybe feel ashamed, we're feeling that emotion out of habit. We're experiencing that out of habit. Like a series of dominoes have fallen such that now we find ourselves feeling bad about the choice we want to make. It's not authentic though. So today we're just going to break down what is shame, what is guilt, how are they different, how are they affecting your decisions, and how can we make your life better and easier all around? Because that's what we are about here at the Decision Ease podcast. So what I want you to be able to know off the bat is that, of course, we're not anti-bad emotions. Emotions have efficacy. They show up to let us know things. Sometimes they show up to let us know you don't like what you just did, or you don't like how you're being right now. Here's what you can do with this information now that you know it. Let's move you in a direction that you like. Sometimes, however, emotions show up out of habit. They're not showing up to let us know our truth. They're showing up to let us know, hey, you've been conditioned or socialized or taught or pressured into feeling this way after you make this kind of decision. It's still data, but it's not the same as authentic emotions that are clean, right? These are messy. These are noisy. And they really mess with our heads when we're trying to figure out what is the right thing for me to do here. What is a good decision for me to make right now? First, let's clear up guilt versus shame. At the base level, guilt is outward facing, shame is inward facing. Okay? Guilt is about actions. It's about other people. It's about outcomes. The way this kind of trickles down in your head is, I did something wrong. Shame, the inward focus emotion, is about your identity. It's about your being. The way this trickles down in your head is, I am wrong. Well, the reason I'm pointing out that a lot of people are confusing these two is because they think they're feeling guilty when they do something, but the way that they're talking to themselves in this experience is, I'm a horrible person. I'm bad. And that's not guilt. That's shame. So let's pull out a couple examples just so we really, really know the difference. And then we're going to talk about why is the difference even important. Let's say you missed a really important email, like from a client about a project, and it made it such that your team was going to miss a deadline. Everybody loses. If you're in this situation, you might think, I let my team down. I made a mistake and I let my team down. That's guilt. That's focused on the outcomes, focused on your actions. It's focused outwards. I'm constantly doing this motion that some of you can't see because you're not watching, but it's the outwards facing emotion. This isn't feel good, but it's actually useful because it can help you, know how you really feel, right? Emotions showing up as data, like, oh, this isn't how you want to act. And it can drive you in an authentic direction. It can prompt this emotion, guilt, can prompt you to take some kind of repairing action, which is the function of that emotion. In our evolution, we got designed to be able to course correct so that when we make a mistake, we have any kind of way of knowing, oopsies, I don't want to go this direction. I need a signal to know I need to get back to where I want to go. I want to take some kind of action to make it right. So that's what it's there for. In this situation, with missing the email and the team being negatively affected. If you were having a shame response, you would make it all about you. I'm a terrible person. I'm the worst boss. How could I have let this happen? I'm such a failure. I'm the world's most unreliable team leader. Inward focus. And that's kind of paralyzing because you're attacking yourself, you're attacking your identity. And how do you fix that? If you're a wrong, bad person, what action can you take to repair that? And what does it have to do with the situation you're in, any of the other people or outcomes or the actions involved? This is why this distinction matters. Because when we walk around our lives thinking we feel guilty, but really we're just in a shame spiral about RSVPing no to the baby shower we don't want to go to, or not helping somebody pack when they asked us, or actually missing a deadline and making a verifiable mistake at work. When we're walking around our lives thinking we feel guilty about those things, but really we just are continuously attacking ourselves and defining ourselves as wrong and bad, you are instructing yourself to carry that self-story. You're instructing yourself to see yourself in this way. Remember, we act in accordance with our self-concept. So if you're defining yourself over and over again as bad, terrible, bad friend, unreliable, even if you're not telling yourself that story on purpose, it's still a story you're telling about who you are. And that means you have license from yourself to act in accordance with that story. You have permission to act like somebody who's bad and wrong and terrible because that's who you are. How could you ever be expected to deviate from that? This keeps us in cycles of making decisions that we do not love for reasons that we are either unaware of or we don't like, and continuing to blame ourselves for how we feel. It's taking all of the power away from yourself in being able to own your choices and direct your life. If we can really start owning, this is the guilt that I feel for this particular situation or action or decision. Here's why it's authentic. Here's why it's a genuine, true emotion, clean, and here's what I'm going to do in response to it. And we can separate that from, here's the shame I think I should be feeling because it's what I've always felt. It's a habit. It's what I was taught. It's what I saw modeled for me. It's what I'm encouraged to feel in my workplace. If you can start separating those out, you can really own what you want to own and leave what is not yours. You can know you're not making decisions simply to avoid the bad feelings, guilt, or shame at any cost. You can know you're not making decisions to avoid that label you might have been encouraged to put on yourself, or you might have built the habit up of putting on yourself of this will make me a bad person, this will make me a terrible friend, spouse, worker. And you can know, here's why I'm making this choice, here's why I'm not making this choice. I'm going to give you one more example so we can really highlight how this distinction will help you in real life. We're going to use a boundary example, okay? Maybe you have some holidays coming up. Maybe you want to take some time off. Maybe you're encouraged at your workplace to feel really bad about that because you're letting everybody down. It's selfish to take time off if that time off does not align perfectly with what's convenient for your project or your team. If you are in the habit of smooshing guilt and shame together, so you just make bad feelings kind of all lumped together about decisions and you kind of make it about you, you're priming yourself to make a super inauthentic, misaligned decision about how much time you take off or if you work over your break or not, because the fear that comes up is I need to avoid that feeling, that guilty, bad, shameful feeling. And I need to avoid the label I'm going to put on myself of being a bad worker. So how can I bend my decisions around feeling those feelings and identifying that way? You're going to end up working over your weekend that you're traveling with your family or checking emails on the plane just because that will help shave off a little bit of that guilt, help stave off that identity of being a selfish, irresponsible worker just a little bit. If those are the reasons you're going to work an extra day or check emails on the plane, I'm here to let you know you don't like those reasons. Those are not reasons that you like and would agree with and would encourage your children or your best friend to make decisions. If you're going to work an extra day or check emails on the plane, you want to know, I like my reasons for doing this. And it's not about avoiding bad feelings that are not genuine in the first place because I don't actually feel guilty. It's not true that I think it's selfish or irresponsible for me to do this. Now, if you're in this situation, you're looking at what time do I take off? Do I check emails on the plane or not? And you are clean with where guilt lives in your life, where shame lives in your life, and where guilt and shame live in your decisions, you can have an entirely different experience. And remember, we're not saying the correct decisions to make are take time off, don't work on the plane. I've worked on vacations before. We're not saying that that's bad and you're bad for doing it. We're saying, can you own whatever choice you make either way? So if you're looking at these opportunities to take all the time off that you want to, don't work on the plane if you don't want to, and you get a little hint of, like a little stomach clenching of, is this okay? You can know, this is probably some inauthentic shame coming up. That part of me that wants to make this mean I'm selfish, because remember, shame, inward, identity focused. If there's part of me that wants to make taking time off a selfish thing to do for a selfish person, I don't know that I actually agree with that. I think I might have learned that in childhood, or my boss might have told that to me to my face. Wherever I got this from, I don't think this is mine. I think this came from somewhere else, and I wouldn't adopt it if I were actually in charge of this whole situation. Points to self. If you get a tinge of this is going to mess the project up and it's going to be all my fault, a little tinge of guilt, right? Because that's a little more outcome focused. That's outward facing. But if you get a tinge of guilt, will this mean I let the team down? You get to decide. Is that actually something I agree with? Is that authentic? Is that something I want to take responsibility for? Something I feel like I need to take responsibility for authentically? A lot of the conversations I'm having with people are, is it your fault that they timed this project out to be dependent on no one ever taking a day off? What if you got sick? What if somebody had to go to the hospital and the project failed? Would that be the project failing because it was not designed to succeed? Or would it be that person's fault because they owe their entire life and health and every waking hour to the project? Hard to feel authentically guilty in that situation, don't you think? So here are the questions you can ask to just help yourself start putting these feelings in their own piles. Authentic guilt, authentic shame, inauthentic guilt, inauthentic shame. And really just make them all separate so you can start feeling cleaner emotions. None of these emotions feel good. We're not going to say you're going to feel better, but it's going to feel cleaner. It's going to feel less muddy and noisy. And it's going to help you make more decisions that you really can take ownership of. So here are the questions you're going to start asking. Is this emotion showing up to let me know something true? If it's not, what's it showing up to tell me? Remember, an emotion can show up just to tell you you have a habit of feeling this way in this situation. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's how you really authentically feel, but it's a habit. You can ask, is this emotion showing up to help me be more of who I want to be? If I don't really want to be the kind of person who gets so busy and makes mistakes because I'm not paying attention and it negatively affects other people, if I don't really want to be the kind of person who gets so hangry that I snap at my partner and I put no effort into being nice, a little healthy shame about that nudges me in the direction I want to go. Another question you can ask, would this emotion help me move towards repairing something or help me back into alignment? Or is this just old programming? Is this how I was taught or how I am encouraged to feel? Is this not mine? Do I not have to take responsibility for this? Can I put this down? Is this emotion connected to my values? Or is this emotion more connected to proving myself? Because this is a lot of what it's about. It's about proving that you're good according to other people's definitions, that you're doing the right thing according to outside conditions. And you don't always agree with those. So I hope this has been a useful conversation. I know there's a lot more to talk about in the departments of guilt and shame and self-judgment and self-criticism for decisions and for outcomes of decisions. And we unpack a lot of that in our decision coaching. If you and I are ever to work together, we will get into how do you have a healthier relationship with mistakes and failure? And how do you stop taking responsibility for things that are not yours to take responsibility for? So if you want help with that, make sure that you look into how we can work together. I am working with a limited number of people one-on-one. You can always reach out to see if that's going to be right for you, or you can check out the Decision Ease program, which starts in 2026. You can get on the wait list right now and set yourself up for that starting in January. All of the links for that are in my show notes. And I just hope you have the best week ahead and the best weekend, and maybe let go of a little inauthentic guilt. Maybe separate out the shame part that you've been putting into guilt. And maybe let yourself not like an action you took, but not make it mean something about you. There's a lot of healthy, juicy stuff in this particular habit change that we're talking about. And a lot of it results in you just feeling lighter, you not carrying around such heaviness. And that will let you feel better, not only about your choices, but about yourself and your life and who you're being. And gosh darn it, doesn't that sound great? So I want that for you. I hope you reach out if you really want help changing these habits for good. There's no reason for you to wait. I'm here. Let's do it. The first step is just sending a little email. So go to kirstenparker.com/coaching and you can find out all of your options. I will see you next week. Have a fabulous weekend. Bye. Hey, want to find out your decision style? Obviously, go take the decision style quiz. It's in the show notes and at kirstenparker.com/quiz. We all have our style when it comes to making decisions, but do you know how to use your default way of thinking to your advantage? Or do you mainly get stuck in the most annoying parts of overthinking and people pleasing? The decision style quiz has your answers, my friend. Take it right now at kirstenparker.com/quiz.